Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to my channel. My name's Panda. That's what everyone calls me because I love warm hugs. Really, I do. I hug all the time. Anywho, I thought let's have a good old time today and talk about makeup in my way. So the way I like to talk about makeup is I actually pull out multiple palettes from my collection and compare them to some of the new releases that's coming out. And what I do is I use those palettes for the month. And when I use those palettes, and if I still have a craving to want that new palette that's coming out, I'll go ahead and buy it. And hopefully in the future I can haul those palettes or makeup that I brought because I wasn't truly inspired by what I actually had. I just was like, you know what, I still want that palette even though I'm using this palette. The other thing too, it helps me cycle through my collection and helps me use it instead of just shopping. Like I say, I'm shopping my stash in a sense, but I'm shopping it based off of the new release makeup. Now, here's the kicker though. You can't pull makeup looks from multiple palettes. You can't be like, this palette has that green and this palette has that blue. No, it's not like that, at least not for me. What I do is like, I like color stories, so I like everything to be on one spot, so that does inspire me. If I have a palette that doesn't have all those colors in that spot, then I probably would go ahead and buy the new palette because I like that. I want to be able to pick up a palette and be like, that's the look I want, and go from there. So hopefully you guys get it. And hopefully you enjoy it, and you know, let's have some fun. So I have on my little photos here, some are from, majority of them are from Trend Mood for the most part, as far as where I'm getting the photos from. So the first one's actually not a eyeshadow palette, believe it or not. It's actually just a product that I do want. It is the new all-nighter expansion, I guess. They're expanding on their all-nighter collection, and they have an ultra matte setting spray that I really want, and they have an ultra matte primer that I really am interested in. So I really want this. I use all-nighter all the time. I also even use the main brand, I guess the Skin Diva. I don't know what the name of it is. It's on the back of the bottle. I use their bridal one all the time, so I do like this brand. Here's gonna be my kicker. I won't get the primer until I finish up this. This is a Urban Decay primer I brought quite a bit ago. It was from like an Urban Decay party that was at Ulta or whatnot, and I have not used all of it. I do like the concept of this one versus the squeezy tube though, because you pump it up and it has like the little pressure to make sure you use up all the product. So I do like that, but I have not used all of this. So until I use all of this, I'm not buying a new primer. That's just me in general. And then of course I have the setting sprays, and then once I use that up, that'll be the new setting spray I buy. As far as the Star Wars collection from Pat McGrath, that collection that I'm just kind of like, looking at you, side eye, Pat. So I brought most of Pat's palettes. I'm only missing the Holiday Quads, the purple palette, the new neutral palette that she came out with, and this one, and these Star Wars ones, because I didn't buy the original one. So let's start with the big guy. The big one, it's a repackaged palette. No, I don't do that, and I think that that's not cool that she's did that. I don't think it's cool that she did that and she charged $100 for doing that. Because if it sold really well, that was a limited edition palette anyway. It even went on sale at one point at Sephora for like $80. You could, no, I just, you know, where those shadows come from? They're in your warehouse and you just trying to figure out a way to sell it. So you threw it in the Star Wars packaging. It was just like, those fools are gonna get it. Well, no. What's that? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Ain't gonna fool me again type of thing. Guys, don't buy this palette. Just don't do it. The other ones here is this gold and purple one, and you have the red one that has no red in it. I don't even get that. What? I guess it's just a hot pink. It's not a red. Nope, that's not a red. They're all shimmers. They're all shimmers. What I did, I pulled my collection and I pulled out all of my palettes that were all shimmer. Ones I pulled out, not necessarily I'm using it. I brought all these BH Cosmetics ones that are all shimmers that I have not touched at all. this Violet Voss palette, which has a purple, actually really pretty. And this is a pretty palette. I just haven't touched it. I actually forgot I had it in my collection. I brought, this is more glitter, which is, I have this palette, haven't touched it. Another BH Cosmetic Galaxy palette, haven't touched it. This one, the Supernova palette, haven't touched it at all. Has the green, has a lot of the colors that are from glitter palette, and I haven't touched it because I just looked through my collection, was like, look how much money that was, and I'm barely touching it. Like, it's not even a dent. This Urban Decay one that had this little slide drawer, you know, like, no. I'm really telling myself, no, I hate that it takes that many palettes for me to finally realize, like, yeah, I don't gravitate towards shimmer palettes. I don't. So I need to quit playing around and keep buying this stuff. All right, so then the next one we have is KKW. I had a couple things from KKW I pulled out because of this, and that is the palette, and it's not just this promo picture, by the way, that you're seeing is the reason why I'm looking at KKW. She came out with a couple of holiday palettes that I've been really interested in. So the only palette I have from her is this one, and I haven't touched it like that, and I don't know why. You know, because I mean, it has the blue, but at the same time, it's a neutral palette. It is a neutral palette, right? And I have not touched this palette like that, and I don't know if it's her formula. I don't know if it's her packaging that's just so plain that I haven't touched it. So I brought it out, and then I saw she had some highlighters and stuff like that too. So I brought out, this palette looks a certain type of way. Don't judge me. This palette, which I gave this palette a lot of love. I love this shade. Not too much this one I'll play with, but I love this shade. It builds up really nice. I don't really like the highlights. Like these highlighter shades. Ugh, let me show you these highlighter shades. I don't know if you can see that, but they don't really look too good on me. So that's the reason why I'm not getting anything from her. And I think I have to stop looking at her promo pictures. Man, her marketing team does a fantastic job with her promo pictures. I mean, they look fantastic. Her skin is glowing. Like, it is glowing. And it's just kind of like, okay, that's what's making me draw to it. The other thing too is I have both of the Fenty Glow, whatever they're called, body glow, body glitz. I don't even know what they call them, but I have both of them. I have the rose gold one and I have the gold one. That means those are $120. I think they're $60 a piece. So I'm not buying another glow anything, oil or nothing, until I finish those up. That's it. Because I've had them, I think, a year now, and I don't know. I think they may have a 2-year shelf life. I gotta start using those up. So I pulled those out. As far as these new lipsticks, I really want a new lipstick, but I don't know why. I'm more of a gloss girl by heart. I have a ton of lipsticks and stuff in my drawer here, so I don't know why I am enticed to lipstick. I even wanted to buy the ones that Jaclyn Hill came out with, but obviously that was a no-go. So, and you know, she just seems like she has a really good lip liner and nude collection. I don't know. I'll have to swatch them, but in all honesty, if I probably get a nude lipstick, I probably would actually go with the first one I've been kind of eyeing. It's been a while since I've been eyeing it, and that's from the Too Faced All Natural palette or selection or whatever. They came out with some new lipsticks, and I really, really like like 2 colors that I really like from that collection. So we'll see. I always thought like glosses my lips in better, or chapstick. So this palette here, the next one's coming up, is some ColourPop. So this is a ColourPop palette. Oh, I love this palette. Like, I want it. It looks like it's all what I want. It looks so perfect. So the only reason why I haven't got that palette is because of this Gold Girl. I have this $129 palette. I'm not buying an expensive palette anymore. I swear I'm not. That everybody raved about, so I jumped on the bandwagon and got it. And as you can see, I shouldn't have done it, because I still want this palette, and I probably will, but I'm going to bring this out and see if I get some looks out of this palette. So if I get some looks out of this palette, hopefully I'll love that palette I'll make a love connection with it. So I wanted to get this palette. This palette looks like all what I want in life. As far as everything else with the thing, that's the thing. If I get the palette, I probably want to get their collection. If it's still available, probably not. But it has a lip liner, a lipstick, some pretty falsies. Oh, you would just, this would be, I would actually get an outfit for New Year's to go with this palette. That's a mess up in the head, yeah. So the next one here is this quad. It's really, instantly when I saw this quad, I thought of Wizard of Oz. I don't know if you guys did too, but I really thought of Wizard of Oz when I saw this. And the only reason why I won't get this palette is because I haven't touched this one too often. This is the Pat McGrath palette, and this is their gold and green shimmer palettes, which is really pretty. I ain't gonna lie, like the palette is really pretty, but I haven't used this palette too often. So I pulled this one out. Try to use that more. $129 with these little special shades. Kesha. I like Kesha. You know, I liked her music. I remember Blow. So I got all the colors that I could possibly have in a palette. The one that I had to pull out is I brought this palette. This is the James Charles palette. So many regrets. Why did I do it? Why did I do it? I had nobody like me right now to tell me I didn't need this palette. I have every color in this palette that's in there, and I haven't touched this palette at all. Like, I maybe did one look with this palette. I haven't touched this palette at all. So that's all the colors in her palette that's in there. So I don't need this. You don't need this if you have this palette. Probably, honestly, looking at the colors, if you have any colorful palette, I mean, any colorful palette, even this one I brought out, this is for another palette, but I have like this colorful palette, haven't touched it, and it has a lot of the colors from there in there, and I brought out this one because it's more of a pinky. I'm talking about multiple palettes, but I was just like, I haven't used this one in a while, and it has all those pinks and oranges and stuff in it. So yeah, that's why I'm not. Oh, and I even brought out this one, and this is just me kind of bringing out colorful palettes that I haven't touched. This is the same, almost the same thing, and I barely touched this one. I love this palette though. Like, I use these two shades a lot for Christmas looks or whatever, but this is pretty much that palette. So for me, I have too many palettes that look too similar to this palette. And even if the other concept was the cool circle, I even brought out I haven't used this palette, which is the first circle palette I think I've ever brought, and it's very similar to, and I actually like this layout better than her layout as far as how they laid out the shadows. So, and that's the circle palette. So yeah, no, it's past. Do I need to say anything? Do I need to say anything? If you're a fan, just give my dislike now. No. Matter of fact, I already knew I have enough palettes to look like this, but I'll even show you what palette looks identical to this right now. If you have this palette, you don't need this Lady Gaga palette at all. Period. I mean, I don't know what she's thinking. I'm sure it's safe, all that fun stuff, but you have that palette 20 times over. Don't make me pull out the Modern Renaissance palette. Don't make me pull out, shoot, I can pull out this little Sweet Talk palette. Got the pinks. Don't, I'm not even, you don't need this palette. I get it, the whole concept of the safe thing, you know, she's doing a look with the black to be like, look, I'm edgy, you know, I'm wearing the palette. No, I can't believe that her brand this is her brand. Like, even her packaging ain't worth her name. Her name really ain't on it, but she's the face behind the brand. She needs to do better. But I'm not even, don't buy this. I don't need it. You don't need it. This teddy bear, I love Heart, I think it is, or Revolution palettes. I have this one. I have not used it. This one I'm not going to use, but I did bring it out because it is still the original palette. It's the aesthetic of it. It sits out all the time. I think I Love Revolution did a better job with the inside, because the inside, sorry, this one fell out from it falling or something like that. Well, a couple things. One, this comes out. So this you can pop out and it becomes a keepsake. So you could use the inside of it. Two, I think that I Heart Revolution did a better job of the inside. It looks like a teddy bear, where this doesn't look like a teddy bear in the inside. This is bigger as well. It looks like that looks more compact. If I had to pick, believe it or not, if I had to pick one of the teddy bears, I would totally do the pink one. First of all, I love pink, and it's cute. It's this. I would do the pink one. If I had to pick one, I would do the pink one. But yeah, I don't need it. The other one is the animal one that was inspired by Too Faced. So I brought this palette. I haven't used this in a while. I enjoyed this palette, but I haven't used it in a while, so I brought this one out so I can play around with it. And again, I think that it's wrong that they copied that whole inspiration, but they didn't do the charity part. That's kind of funny, but I'm not gonna get too much into it. The ColourPop butterfly palettes, did I not show a bunch of them? The big one, my sultry palette, has a pink, the silver, so it looks kind of like the one on the far side here. The orange one, I have a ColourPop palette. I have this orange palette, the California Love palette, that looks just like that orange palette. And then I brought out the Sweet Talk palette for the pinks. So that is the palette I'll be wearing to try to do the pinks. I wasn't really too inspired by that palette, but it definitely made me want to bring out the palette. And of course it made me bring out, again, this one, because I haven't touched this one too much. And I think that this is a good time to wear pinks, and I haven't worn pinks in a while. So the Bare Necessity palette, I got this palette. I have the Soft Glam palette. You have this. I'm sure you have this. That's the reason why I'm not getting that. But I haven't used the Soft Glam palette in a while. I used to use it a lot, especially this shade. These kind of shades I use a lot. So that's why they have so much love. So since I have those, I'm going to bring that out for that palette. Kind of already talked about the ColourPop. This is that Soul brand or whatever. It's really just because of, as far as the liquid piece, I already talked about the Body Lava piece. So I want to use that. The other one is, I really want that highlighter. I love how big is in that highlighter, but I just brought these highlighters. Sorry, I'm pulling them out here. From MAC, not even, I think, a month ago. And I haven't got a chance to really, I used them once or twice, but I need to start digging into those. And that's like the pink one. And then I have this one. These are brand new in my collection with the stars or whatever. So I got to use these before I can buy any. I haven't barely even touched these, so I'm not getting those. So the last one I want to talk about is the BH Cosmetics palette. This palette is so pretty. I want it. I'm very tempted to just buy it, but the palette I brought out to try to keep myself from getting the palette is one. I have this palette from Manny, which is half neutrals, half colors, just like the story of the BH Cosmetics that I barely touched. So I'm going to try to use that one. The other one I have is this colorful one. It's another reason I pulled it out, and that's this one here. I have barely touched this one. This has half neutrals, half color as well. And then an actual BH Cosmetic palette is the Festival palette. Got neutrals and the colors too. So these are the palettes that I pulled out because I really want this palette. I don't know what it is. It is just so eye-pleasing, and then there's a butterfly on it. I want that palette. So the palette is probably going to end up in my collection. It's going to probably be this one and the gold butterfly one. So hopefully I can keep myself occupied with them. But the rest of them, I feel pretty confident that I have some palettes in here that I'll be good to go. So anywho, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully this video was entertaining and you had some fun looking at some of my collection and hearing me talk about some of the makeup. And hopefully you do the same thing. And hopefully you'll join me again to do that. And have a great day again. Thank you for watching.